Hello YouTube, this is XOR Hacks. Today we will be doing Optimum, which is an easy box on HackTheBox and also on the OSCP like boxes list by TJ Null and TCM, the Cyber Mentor. As this is an old Windows box, some tools tend not to work. So I will be showing another way to find vulnerabilities on Windows machines while showcasing another tool which I haven't used in any of my previous videos and can prove to be tedious to install at times. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's begin with the basic nmap port scan. Nmap, SC for default scripts, SV for version enumeration, ON for normal output, and I'll save it in a directory called nmap and name the output Optimum. And the IP address of the box and tag VV as verbose outputs are always good. As I run it, the first port open I find is port 80. As that is HTTP, we can just visit it via the browser. As we go there, we see HFS on the title and asking for a login folder and some other tabs or other options. We can see in the server information area the full form of HFS is HTTP file server, and we can see the port number, the version number over here. So you can actually view the source code as you might sometimes find something of use over here. And we don't really seem to find anything over here. So let's use Metasploit. And our nmap port scan just finished. We only found port 80, but as we were only scanning the first 1000 ports, there's a possibility that there is something else also on the target, but that's out of the scope of this video. So let's search for HTTP file server. As I do that, I don't really get any results, even though we can see the name over here. So let's just try HFS. As I do that, I get a ton of results. So just a thumb rule, whenever you try to use Metasploit, don't just try to just see one thing and you will just put that in Metasploit. There's a possibility that there's an acronym for what you're trying to search for that might work. Even though here we can see HTTP file server, I might have found it if I wrote regeto HTTP file server. So just keep mixing up the keywords and just see what you can find on Metasploit. Over here we can see, find a ton of stuff. Well, these are useless to us. And over here we can see, and Linux kernel is also useless, but it is also a denial of service, so that's not really useful to us. And we can see over here, we see 2 remote command executions and they've also been labeled. So let's view this one first. Metasploit tag X just helps you examine it. And over here we can see that this is a remote command execution and remotely possible, yes, because well, remote command execution. And the date it was found on is in 2014, and over here we can see it will not handle null bytes, so a request to the IP address of our box search is equal to this %00 is actually the null byte. This is something you will encounter quite frequently and have to use really often when you're trying to test for XSS, just to help you break command any kind of execution flow. And we can see that this is what needs to be done. And this exec and cmd, I think this can be cmd.exe. So as this is an OSCP like box, we won't really try to manually exploit everything, even though that's the whole point. But often you can find somebody else's exploit code or a POC. So over here we can see that this is a .py script, a Python script. So let's examine it again. Well, not again. So over here we can see that it is targeting the same version and the author. And you can actually download the vulnerable version of the software and also figure out more via the CVE. Over here you can see the usage of the script, Python, the name of the file, the target IP, which will be 10.10.10.8, and the target port number. which will be 80 as it is running on HTTP. Over here you can see a note: you need to be using a web server hosting netcat, which is the name for NC, which that actually the full form for it is netcat, and on your own local system on port 80, and you may need to run it multiple times for success. So as it is a script, let's just copy it. Other than X, now I'll use stack M, and I get it in my current work directory. So let me just clear it and open this in Vim. Over here we can see that over here we are providing the target's IP address and the port number, and we do need to get a reverse shell back, and we are not actually providing our information over here. So in the script we can see there's an IP address, the local IP address and local port number. So let's just delete this and enter ours. And what is ours? 10.10.14.9. So 10.10.14.9, and let's change the port number to 1234 just to make things easier. Let me clear this. First, let's set up a listener, RL wrap 134, and for the script we needed to do Python. Well, first let's actually find NC. So Windows binaries like netcat, you will not be there on Windows target machines that often, but Kali does provide you with all of those, and you can actually download different versions of it online. So just to find it on your own machine, locate nc.exe. Over here we can see, let's just ignore all of these first, and I do have it in my current work directory. Do I? No, I don't. Well, actually I do, when I did Optimum a very long time ago. So you'll usually find these two. So you can use any of these two as they are the same thing. So just cp means copy, and copy to the current work directory. As we saw in the information in the script, we need to host this file on port 80. So for that we will do sudo python 3m server port 80, and as we have done that, let's run the script. The IP address of the target and the port it is running on, and I press enter. As I press enter, we see that 4 requests were actually made for nc.exe, but we did not get a shell back, and the script did say that we might have to make the request multiple times. So let's do that again, and we get a shell. So let's do who am I? I am Costas. So let's see, what do we have over here? We have hfs.exe, which we exploited, and the user.txt, which I won't be opening. So let me just clear this and move the server to a different window. So now to actually enumerate it, let's locate WinPEAS, and I get a ton of stuff. I'll just copy it from another box. Well, why not copy it from here? I'm gonna start odd. Oh yeah, this is the current directory, means the database did not update. So I'll just copy it from here. This is the file, and let's go here. I'll just use certutil. And press enter. Well, something happened. I forgot to add this. And we can see 2 requests were made. Do we have it here? Yes, we do. And now let's run WinPEAS. Now in some older versions of Windows, you might not be able to get WinPEAS to work, so you might have to run some of the commands manually, which I will be covering in another video. On this box, initially I did run WinPEAS when I first time did it, which is actually quite a while back. But this time, for some reason, WinPEAS just froze exactly at this point. So usually this doesn't happen as often, but it does. Also, why you need to understand what these scripts actually do and manually understand these commands too. For that, I would highly recommend you go for some privilege escalation courses or use something on Try Hack Me to understand this much better, how you enumerate further for privilege escalation. I will be adding a link for an article in the description though. So as this is stuck and is kind of useless now, I'll just cancel it and we disconnect from our shell. So let's set it up again. And go here. That's Python 3 and 80. We got the shell back. So over here, as it is an older version of Windows, there possibly would be a lot of vulnerabilities. So let's do system info. Over here we can see that there are a lot of hot fixes. Means it is not a fresh install. And we can see that's a 64-bit architecture and some of the basic information. So today I'll show you another tool. Let's go in a private window and search for Windows exploit suggester. You'll find 2 of these links and you can download from any of these. Over here you can see the description and you just need to use git clone and download the entire repository from using this link. And you can see you just need to update it. After you update it, a file will be created like this, which is a database of vulnerabilities and what we will be testing for. And need to install the dependencies. So when you actually download this link, do not install the dependencies like this, because this will definitely not work. So what we will actually do is, I have already downloaded this, but just to demonstrate it, I did not install it. Well, did not install the dependencies. So I have it over here in my opt directory. I did run that update command over here just to get this database. So now again, to install Python dependencies so that it does not mess up your actual Python install, just use virtually env. So this tag p will be telling which Python version I want to provide it with. So which Python 2. It is just providing the path to my Python 2 binary. I'll name it, well, venv as usual. It was just created. Let's clear it and source it to now. When I actually try to run it, let me try actually running Windows exploit suggester. Well, not enough arguments, so let's just, well, to actually be able to scan the system, you would need the output of system information. So let's just first copy it. I'll just open it and open a vim, sets.info.txt, and I've pasted it all. So now if I do database and the actual syntax for it, I get this: please install and upgrade the Python xlrd library. So this is what it has been asking for, but if you do this to install, it will be installing a more latest version or might not actually find it, and for some reason the script does not actually work with this. So first, an easy way to do it, just copy this and Google. The first message you get is, the first link you get is this. You just go down and you can see this here. So you need to use these commands, but just a little different. So I'll copy this from here and paste it. This might take a little while to run for some reason, and I'll just cut the video a little short. And it finally worked. So now we have downloaded this file, get-pip.py, and we can copy this. But if we actually just run it, it is just doing for get-pip. We need to provide the .py and it will install it. While it is doing that, let's pick this up here. We do need to change this command a little bit too. I will be adding all of these commands in my description so that you can just copy paste it. And this finally installed. But now I need to install it here. Over here, let's just remove the user part and the 2 in front of pip and press enter. And it does work. And this finally installed. So now we are done with this. Stuff like this does take a while to install, so just a recommendation: in the home directory you can just create something like a venv. Usually I have it, I think I deleted that. Just make a directory where you store all your virtual environments with stuff like this for WES, and which is Windows Exploit Suggester, and pawn tools and all. So as we already installed it, let's now run system info. Let me delete this window, and now it is running. See, we don't get an error and database file detected, and it's actually running. So usually when you run this tool, you'll get a ton of information at times. So just start from the top and keep reading the basic information. So you can, everything with E actually has this means exploit, and I think this means a Metasploit module, or I can, yeah, E means exploit DB POC and M means Metasploit module. So you can see over here that this is a denial of service, so this is not useful to us, and this is a privilege escalation. This can be useful to us, but I have not tested this one out. The one we will be going for is MS16098. So it's a security update for Windows kernel mod driver, and here we get RGNOBJ integer overflow. So let's copy the link and visit the page. Over here we can see on the top you get a source, the source code for it, and the binary which we actually need, and we can actually see it as bio-offensive security. So their GitHub repository is actually quite useful when you need binaries for any kind of exploitation. So I'll copy it. Now need to pay attention over here as I actually try to download it. I'll get this and let's press save. So let me open another window. So let's first bring it to our current directory. It's in the downloads, and it has been, well, and you can see that the size of the file is 0. This is actually because the file didn't actually download, as it was detected as a virus or a malware. So to actually download it, you can copy this. And wget and just paste the link over here. So let's delete this first. And now you can see we have the file, and it actually does have a size. So now to actually run it, we have the server set up, we have the name of the file. Let's just copy it for ease of life, and cert util, HTTP and we can check our server. The request has been made, the file has been downloaded. Yes. So now to actually run this, we just need to enter the name and enter. Wait for a little while and we get something. We can see, well, it doesn't really show us much. So let's just do who am I, and we can see that we are NT system authority. So now we have rooted the box. So now one of the key things about this box is, as it is an old Windows box but still actually had hot fixes. One of the major tools we would usually use on Windows as WinPEAS, that did not really work. So usually when we have situations like that, there are always other ways. Remember, these boxes are vulnerable. It's just that you need to spend a little time, research a little more to be able to actually figure out how to hack into these boxes. Now, thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. I'll be uploading next week again. Thank you.